Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple. That's your no shit gaming news video. 3 news stories in one video with 0 faff. Gamers have fought wars against aliens, zombies, terrorists, dinosaurs, and even basic sunlight, but the worst battle that continues to endure is the one against loot boxes. Now, we all know what they are, we all hate them, but still they persist because they make money and lots of it. However, we have had a few victories over the past few years, and Germany is trying to add another W to the tally. According to German news outlet Der Spiegel, as translated by Google, the country's federal council has launched a reform to the 20-year-old Youth Protection Act to include things like loot boxes. Lawyer Julia Maris said online games or other applications that use loot boxes or similar in-game offers would probably be classified with an age rating of 18 or over. Family Minister for the Social Democratic Party, Franziska Giffey, said, "We want clear symbols that indicate risks such as violence or cost traps." FIFA is usually the poster boy for the anti-loot box agenda, and here it is once again for good reason. FIFA is at surface level just a game about football, but in addition to that, beyond yearly iterations with zero improvement or innovation, it is a virtual casino that kids as young as 3 years old are allowed to play. FIFA Ultimate Team is the main problem in this case, although the game as a whole is still total bullshit, but that's a different conversation. There have been many stories about how kids have unwittingly spent thousands of pounds on their parents' credit cards, and while the parents clearly bear a great deal of responsibility, so do the publishers that let it happen and encourage it. We don't let kids walk into casinos, so why would we let them gamble on FIFA, a game specifically designed to give you the exact same thrill, albeit without the 18+ barrier. Every time this conversation comes up, there's at least one person being like, keep the government out of our games. Right, now I totally get that, no one wants the government telling them what to do, but this stuff is clearly damaging to kids, and if you're an adult, this doesn't affect you in the slightest since you're old enough to do everything anyway. No doubt some officials will try to overextend their authority to block certain games based on their own agendas, but they've been trying to do that for decades and it still hasn't really worked. It's probably never ever going to work because the people don't want it, but most people do seem to be in favour of some kind of loot box legislation. The dominant age rating system for games in Europe is PEGI, which has allowed loot boxes and additional monetization to persist based on the flimsiest of arguments. Germany, however, runs independently with the USK, which I'm definitely going to pronounce correctly. Okay, Unterhaltungssoftware Unterhaltungssoftware Selbstkontrolle. I think that sounds right to me.
Life is good, but it can be better.
For games to be published in Germany, they have to meet those requirements rather than just PEGI's, so if this proposed reform is passed, then it won't necessarily have a wider splash elsewhere. And since it's only a reform proposal, it's not a certainty that it will even pass, and it's not going to be decided for a while. More and more of these stories keep coming up, and while I know it's easy to get bored of them, it's an important thing to talk about and keep relevant. The Times newspaper in the UK ran this article this week, which should hopefully get the conversation to the ears of parents who are the ones who actually have the power to stop this happening. Belgium banned loot boxes back in early 2019, so EA had to disable the sale of FIFA points. Last year, a Dutch judge fined EA €500,000 every week until Ultimate Team is removed, which was 18 weeks ago, setting the current bill at 9 million, just shy of the 10 million maximum. The UK House of Lords launched an investigation into loot boxes and demanded that immediate action be taken to address them. If this reform is passed, which we'll know about in spring, EA will either have to stop selling FIFA in Germany or deactivate the Ultimate Team mode, a mode which, according to industry analyst Daniel Amard, earned $1.49 billion last summer across all of the games featuring it. Ultimate Team is a recurring source of revenue that earns far more money than the $60 price tag of the game itself, so it will be a huge loss to EA if they have to take it out. Hopefully other nations will follow suit with something similar and we can finally get loot boxes the hell out of here. Although let's be honest, how many of us would actually play a FIFA game even if there weren't loot boxes in there? I know I certainly wouldn't.
Not me.
And next up, Final Fantasy as a franchise is best known for its JRPG gameplay with batshit crazy stories and colourful characters. However, one of its most successful entries is Final Fantasy XIV, the hugely popular MMORPG. Like all MMOs, there is a huge focus on community interaction and working together, but Square Enix has just banned over 5,000 accounts for doing something a little more than just slaying monsters. According to the game's website, actions are being taken against RTM, or real money trading, and other illicit activities. Square Enix banned 5,000 1,037 accounts for trading real money in-game, among other prohibited activities, and a further 814 were banned for just advertising RTM. Their statement said, players who discover any confirmed cheats should, under no circumstances, exploit or disseminate such information. Instead, we ask that players file a report by using in-game command, system menu support desk, contact us, report cheating. In addition, any witnessed RTM advertisement can be reported by right-clicking the character name in the chat log and selecting the menu report RTM activity. The reports will be processed automatically, and if determined to fall under RTM advertising, the reported character's comments will be restricted. We will continue to take stringent disciplinary action against any accounts with confirmed involvement in RTM/illicit activities. Players should take care to steer clear of any activity that violates the terms of service. Now, personally, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with a discussion of trade like this in a game, just like you would on any other forum, but there are some legal restrictions that mean money cannot be traded within the game, which is why Square has taken action here. In reality, I'm sure it's not really hurting anyone, but there are certain rules that have to be followed with this sort of thing. Plus, if Square put it in their terms of service, they can basically do whatever they want if you breach it. The game recently announced a new expansion called Endwalker, which is due for release sometime this autumn. It's coming to PC, PS4, and Mac, as well as PS5 after the beta launches in April. Ultimately, MMOs aren't really my thing because I just don't have the time to commit to them, but I love seeing stories like this come out from them based in the real world. It's always heartwarming to see people find love through an online game, or watch one guy play the system and get away with millions of in-game currency, or just see how people work together to take on one monumental boss battle. And finally, Microsoft bought Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax back in September for $7.5 billion. Now the EU has officially accepted that deal in line with antitrust laws, meaning that it is allowed to go ahead, and Microsoft is one step closer to owning huge IPs like Fallout and The Elder Scrolls. In a statement made by the EU, it said, "The European Commission has approved under the EU merger regulation the acquisition of ZeniMax Media Incorporated by Microsoft Corporation. The Commission concluded that the proposed acquisition would raise no competition concerns, given the combined entity's limited market position upstream and the presence of strong downstream competitors in the distribution of video games. The transaction was examined under the normal merger revenue procedure." Oof, all that is legal jargon, and it basically just means, yep, it's all by the book, you're good to go. The deal is all but complete now, and barring any huge opposition from antitrust committees in the US, it will be finished sometime this year. This will bring the number of studios under the Xbox Game Studios banner from 15 to 23, and will give them access to IPs like Dishonored, Prey, Wolfenstein, The Evil Within, and Doom. And that's it for today. If you like this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost, hit subscribe and the bell to stay notified about all future installments. Toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. I've been Henry Cooper. That's all for today. Bye for now.
Unterhaltungssoftware Unterhaltungssoftware Selbstcontroller. Selbstcontroller. Unterhaltungssoftware Selbstcontroller. Unterhaltungssoftware Selbstcontroller. I think that sounds right to me.